Ready for a journey to a place you've probably never heard of? Yongzhou. It wasn't on my radar either, but let me tell you, this deep dive into Liu Zongyuan and his 8 records of Yongzhou, it's like opening a window into a whole other world.
And what's fascinating is these essays, they're so much more than just some dude writing about his travels.
Right, it's like way more intense.
Absolutely. You gotta remember, Liu Zongyuan, he was exiled from the political center, so Yongzhou. It became this unlikely muse for him. His emotions, philosophies, they're all woven into those descriptions. You can practically feel what it was like to be in his shoes.
It's like we're getting this firsthand account, but centuries later.
Exactly. And one of the things that struck me reading these essays was how he describes Mount Ji. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, he makes it sound massive, almost mystical, like towering over everything.
Right, but in reality, Mount Ji isn't actually that big.
No kidding.
Not at all. And that's where Liu Zongyuan's brilliance comes in. He uses this technique scholars call exaggeration, but it's more like he's deliberately emphasizing the emotional impact of the landscape.
So it's not just about what he's seeing, it's about what he's feeling because of what he's seeing, right?
Exactly. He describes Mount Ji as piercing the heavens, which gives you this sense of awe of nature's power, especially when you contrast it with his own feelings of being powerless, stuck in exile.
So it's like he's creating this emotional map of Yongzhou, inviting us to experience it through his heart, not just our eyes. And speaking of emotions, one thing that really struck me was how he keeps putting these huge, breathtaking landscapes right alongside his own internal struggles. It's almost like jarring in a way.
No, I know exactly what you mean. That's what makes these essays so compelling. He'll be describing this incredibly vibrant, lively, natural scene, and then bam, he reminds us, and probably himself, that he's still in exile, longing for his homeland.
Like, no matter how beautiful Yongzhou is, it doesn't erase his past or his pain.
Exactly, and he does this so skillfully. Like when he describes the cobalt tan, he's renovated it, it's got this crystal clear water, perfect for gazing at the moon, idyllic, right?
Sounds amazing.
But then he hits us with this reminder that even this beauty can't erase the fact that he's stuck in exile. It's heartbreaking, but also incredibly human, you know?
Totally. It's like he can't escape his past, no matter how hard he tries. Which actually reminds me of something else I noticed. He keeps highlighting these almost forgotten parts of Yongzhou, like places nobody was really paying attention to before him.
You're right. Places like the Small Stone Pool or West Hill, they were pretty much off the map until Liu Zongyuan came along.
So he's not just describing Yongzhou, he's almost rediscovering it for us. It's like he's saying, hey everyone, look closer, there's magic here.
There's this idea that runs through a lot of the 8 records, oblivion and rediscovery. It really makes you think about how we see, or maybe don't see, the world around us. And it makes you realize, like, these places, they become more than just physical locations in his writing.
Yeah, they're like metaphors for what he's going through internally.
Right. It's not just about a rock formation or a pool of water. He's talking about resilience, about finding beauty when you least expect it, about wanting something you can't have.
And those themes, they're so universal. It doesn't even matter that he was writing centuries ago, right?
Not at all. I mean, who hasn't felt isolated or misunderstood at some point? Like you're on the sidelines while everyone else is out there living their lives. But then you read about Liu Zongyuan finding peace in the stillness of the Small Stone Pool, or seeing his own struggles reflected in West Hill, and it's like, well, maybe there's another way to look at things.
You kind of want to grab your hiking boots and just go on that journey with him, you know?
Exactly. He makes you want to find those moments of meaning in your own life.
Totally.
Yeah.
But okay, we have to talk about his writing itself. The guy was clearly a master of words. What were some of those techniques he used to really bring the reader into the experience?
Oh man, where do I even begin? He was amazing at using contrast. Like, he'll create this super vivid picture of nature at its most dynamic, birds singing, waterfalls roaring, everything just bursting with life. And then he'll subtly remind us that he's stuck, he's limited.
And that contrast just makes his inner world stand out even more.
Absolutely. He's playing with those descriptions, making us feel that sense of longing right alongside him.
So it's not just what he's describing, it's the way he arranges those descriptions to create a very specific feeling. Are there any other examples that come to mind?
Oh, tons. He also shifts perspectives constantly. Like, one minute you're looking out at this huge mountain range, getting the big picture, and the next, he zoomed way in, describing a leaf in intricate detail.
Or the way light hits the water, right? I love those parts.
It makes you slow down, appreciate those small details you might normally miss. And honestly, I think that's why Liu Zongyuan's work still resonates with people today. Even though he's writing about specific places, the emotions he's getting at, the joy of discovering something new, the frustration of being held back, that desire for connection, that's something we can all relate to.
It really makes you think, right? Like, this guy was basically exiled to what we might consider the middle of nowhere, and yet, centuries later, we're still reading his words, still finding meaning in them.
It's incredible, and it just goes to show art, it has this power to transcend time and place. Liu Zongyuan could have just given up, let himself be defeated by those circumstances, but instead he turned his experience, his pain even, into something beautiful and lasting.
He really did. And in doing that, he gave us this amazing gift, these reflections on nature and what it means to be human, on finding your footing, even when life throws you a curveball.
And, it makes you think about how we respond to our own challenges, right? I mean, what are those moments of grace, those hidden gems that we might be missing in our own lives just because we're not looking for them?
It's all about perspective, isn't it? Like you were saying earlier, that willingness to see beyond the surface.
Exactly. And that's what Liu Zongyuan's 8 records they offer us, this invitation to approach the world, even the tough parts, with open eyes and open heart, to find beauty where you least expect it. And maybe, just maybe, to turn your own experiences, whatever they might be, into something meaningful, something that speaks to others.
So if you ever find yourself feeling lost or stuck or just in need of some inspiration, remember Liu Zongyuan and that journey he took, both physically to Yongzhou, but also emotionally. Remember that power of observation, the beauty of language, and how resilient the human spirit can be. And hey, who knows? You might even discover a hidden gem or two along the way.